Huh. Quiet.
Howdy, ma'am. Allow me to extend the warmest of welcomes on behalf of the town of Rosewater and its inhabitants. Folks call me Jem. And who do I have the honor of greeting?
Harley Leger.
Delighted to make your acquaintance. Might I assist you with your luggage? That is, if you've got any.
I don't.
Ah, right. Well, what brings you to our fair town, Mrs. Leger?
Miss, and I'm here about a job.
Planning on sticking around, huh? Say, what line of work are you in?
If you must know, I write. There's an opening at the Rosewater Post.
Well, best of luck with that. The editor at that place ain't somebody you want to cross.
Then we ought to get along fine.
I'm sure you will. But as official town greeter, allow me to offer a small caution. Rosewater ain't always such a sleepy little town.
Hey!
Say, I've just remembered another engagement.
This how you welcome new arrivals? I have a mind to give you a thrashing. All right, enough of that. Look, I was no choir girl. But I at least had some brains. Word of advice, kid, don't pick your mark in broad daylight, especially not at a lawman's doorstep. Go on, beat it, or I really will give you something to cry about. Now, where in the ether is that damn publisher's office?
Hello, can I help you with something?
I'm here about the writing commission.
Ah, yes, you must be Miss Leger. I believe you and Joannie exchanged some correspondence on the matter already, yes?
Yep, got the letter right here.
May I see it, please? Very good. Oh, one more thing. Joanie's not one for formalities. First names will do.
Noted.
Go up those stairs and knock.
Thanks. What's your name?
Henry Dixon, ma'am. Pleasure to make your acquaintance.
Likewise.
Come in.
Hello, Joan. I'm Harley Leger.
Ah, yes. Nice to finally put a face to the name. Please take a load off. Whiskey?
Bit early for me, but thanks all the same.
Sensible. I like that. I, however, have had a morning, so if you don't mind. Say, have we met before? Something about you seems familiar.
I don't believe so, no.
Well, let's get down to the meat and potatoes, shall we? If you're going to join our little family here, I'd like to know more about you.
Me? Well, I was born and raised in New Britannia, got out, made my way west, and started writing. I saw your ad while I was up in Pierre. Thought a change of scenery would do me good.
Well, admittedly, Rosewater isn't as cosmopolitan as it used to be, but maybe you'll find it to your liking.
There hasn't been a dull moment since I stepped off the train.
Speaking of, your writing sample had me in stitches. I haven't spent much time in Lamplight City myself, but your descriptions of the toughs in Lyon, hilarious.
That piece was inspired by my last visit a few years ago, actually.
Oh? What brought that about?
I had to go back and settle my late brother's affairs.
Oh, I'm sorry. I hope it wasn't in connection with that awful business at the Lamplight City Expo.
Oh, no, it was before that.
The Expo disaster was a national tragedy, of course. But you know, I can't help remembering it as the week our paper sold more copies than it has before or since. Isn't that terrible? But enough about that. Let's get back to why we're here. I loved your sample, and I like you as well, Harley. So I'm going to go ahead and offer you a commission. I'll pay you 45 crowns for it. After that, we can talk about more regular opportunities.
Fantastic. So, what's my assignment? A scathing commentary on Rosewater's decline? Or maybe a hard-hitting expose on the plight of the marginalized criminal youth?
Oh, no. Nothing like that. I want you to interview Gentleman Jake-Ackerman.
Who?
Oh, the other one. You've been living under a rock. He's a true Western legend. The Achilles of our times. We've got a real opportunity here. A star like that landing in our little town. I'd like something in the vein of your sample. Acerbic and mordant. But maybe not quite so acerbic.
So, a puff piece.
Good, you're paying attention. I want you to make Rosewater look good too. Show me a real frontier hero in a real frontier town.
Where can I find this Jake fellow?
He's taking rooms at the Jack of Diamonds just down the road. And his show is opening today at the Opera House. So he should be around for an interview. I don't know how you're situated here, but you're welcome to use the typewriter in the office.
I only write longhand, but I'd certainly be grateful for a quiet place to work.
Longhand. How charming. Now, if you have any questions before you go, by all means, ask.
Any insight you can give me about the town?
It's a far cry from what it used to be. In a way, it's nice not having to hear the noise from the saloon at all hours, but, oh, I don't know. Folk who moved on took some of the charm with them.
I'm curious, how did the Rosewater Post get its start?
Well, my dad was a union man. He worked the printing press for the Allied Fall Creek Miners Cooperative. Pamphlets, labour news, that sort of thing. Then the mine owners brought the Blackburns in to bust the whole operation up. My dad was laid up for months and could never work again after. But we still had to eat, didn't we? I took all the equipment from the old shop and started printing up an early version of the Post just to bring a little money in. At first, it was all just community notices and advertisements from local stores. Over time, I got the hang of the whole journalism thing and turned it into a real newspaper.
So, who was the man that went out your window? Not another writer, I hope.
Oh, God, no. You're the only applicant we've had. Don't worry about him. Just a rabble-rouser with an axe to grind. Thought he could burst in here railing about my journalistic integrity. Most folks stick to writing letters to the editor. I tried to calm him down, but... well, it didn't go that way.
I see. What about the folks who stayed behind?
What about him?
They must be pretty stalwart to stick around when others didn't.
Or stubborn. Go on and meet him for yourself. Best draw your own conclusions.
I'd best be on my way.
Right you are. Wait a minute.
What?
It's just come to me. I know why you look familiar. You're Spitfire Harley.
Goodness. It's been a long time since anyone called me that.
I saw you fighting back in 26 at Wellesley Hall in the Chum. You took out a brute twice your size with a right hook. Pow! It was like watching David bring down Goliath.
I appreciate the kind words, but that was another life.
Maybe so, but for a 14-year-old kid fresh off the boat, it was pretty damn inspirational.
Thanks, Joan. Appreciate it.
Of course. And please call me Joanie.
See you later, Joanie.
Take care of yourself out there. Spitfire Harley, writing for my paper. Now don't that just beat all?
Excuse me?
How can I be of assistance?
Been working here long, Mr. Dixon?
Oh, about 5 years. I was the first one Joanie hired on shortly after launching the paper. Was a farmhand before that. Keeping books is much nicer than tending cow pens, let me tell you.
Exactly who was that gentleman just took a tumble out your second-story window?
I haven't a clue. Devil of a fella. Just busted in here and went straight for Joanie's office. He wouldn't be put off, but insisted on speaking with the editor immediately. Said he intended to lodge a complaint. Suppose Joanie didn't take too kindly to his manner of lodging.
Those are some mighty fine whiskers you've got.
Oh, why, thank you, Miss Leger. The missus tells me I ought to shave, but I'm fond of the look.
As you should be. What's to know about this town?
You picked a fine time to arrive, Miss Leger.
Why's that?
A few years back, you could hardly drive a wagon through the street. It was so full of folk coming and going. I'm sure you've noticed that's no longer the case.
So where did everyone go?
Wherever the Orem actually is would be my guess. There's still some prospectors hanging on, convinced they'll find something everyone else missed. I'm sure they'll all come to their senses eventually.
If they all go, where will that leave you?
Why, getting by, I imagine. Peaceful, quiet life. The railroad still brings some traffic. Folks on their way further west or shipping goods back east. Although not as many as before the transcontinental airship line opened up. Easier to sail clear over the country than ride the rails halfway. Suits me fine, though.
I'll leave you to your work.
Appreciate it, ma'am.
Unless I want to write a piece of pure fiction, I should probably collect some material first.
Was your meeting satisfactory, ma'am?
Quite so. Did you find any of those butterscotch sweets I asked for?
Afraid not. Only taffy and some peppermints.
Pity. This place seems to lack even the smallest of pleasures. Shall we?
Food delivery for the lazy. Warning! Watch the dang door. Signed, Management. These seem to be for decoration more than anything else. Excuse me, kid. I need to get upstairs.
I'm really sorry, miss, but Mr. Ackerman's not taking any more meetings right now.
I'm here on behalf of the Rosewater Post.
Did you make an appointment?
No, I just got the assignment.
Okay. Look, Mr. Ackerman's upstairs getting ready for his show. It starts in less than an hour. Why don't you come by and watch? You can come meet him afterwards.
I just need to interview him for a newspaper article.
Well, now, that's perfect. If you're going to write about him, you should definitely see the show. Trust me, it's a real dazzler.
Suppose it beats waiting around here. For 20 coppers, it had better be one hell of a show. You again?
Oh, hey, Harmony, was it?
Harley. What in the ether are you doing here?
Oh, you're not still sore about earlier.
Nah, but your little friend might think twice about hoodwinking strangers again.
Look, nothing personal. My brother and me are just doing our best to get by.
Your brother, huh? And you just threw him to the dogs to save your own skin. You're clearly the brains of the operation.
Hey, thanks.
But let me pose you a question. If you don't have your own brothers back, who else on this wretched earth is going to give a flip if you're alive or dead?
You made your point. Now can we drop it already? I'm trying to do an actual legitimate job here.
Legitimate job? So you're not selling snake oil or stock tips or fire insurance?
Nah, nothing like that. I'm selling tickets to Gentleman Jake's legendary Wild West show. Only 20 coppers.
I'll take one of those tickets.
Swell! And when would you like to come see the show?
Whenever it starts?
Oh, you mean today? Oh, well, I'm afraid I gotta disappoint you there. Sold the last of today's tickets not 10 minutes before you walked up.
Seriously?
Seriously, this ain't exactly the Coliseum. It only fits so many, and folks around here are real excited to see Gentleman Jake in person.
All right, look. I don't need to see some yahoo firing off his pea shooter. I just want to talk to this Jake fellow.
And I'm sure Gentleman Jake would be happy to meet you if you had a ticket to get in. Course, I might be able to sneak you in quiet-like, but I'd be putting my job on the line, and I can't afford to lose it now. After all, I have my little brother to look after.
Just tell me what you want.
Only a small favor.
Spit it out.
Just help me retrieve something. A small item of great personal value. It's only my pa's pocket watch. Family heirloom, you see.
What happened to it?
It was stolen is what? By that one-eyed scalawag Lola Johnson. Probably stashed it away in the old smithy. She's been squatting in there for weeks now.
If this Lola stole from you, why not report it to the sheriff?
Oh, come on. I thought you was sharp. That lazy tyrant would cuff my brother and me soon as look at us. It's just the two of us. Me and him against the world. We got no one else to turn to. So, will you help us out?
You can go hang for all I care. But I want in this theater, so I'll do it.
Swell. You know where to find me.
This padlock's not going anywhere. Not without encouragement. Too bad I didn't bring my lockpicks. Or a hammer. Nothing inside but a colony of ants. Shame. I could go for a sarsaparilla. I hope that isn't the town water supply.
Oh, hello there. Don't think I've seen you around before.
Just arrived in town. Name's Harley Leger. And you're Dr. Sedgwick?
At your service. Welcome to Rosewater and to my clinic. If there's something ailing you, you'll have to take a seat. My hands are a bit full right now.
That's all right. I was just looking around.
Oh, that's a relief. I'll be occupied with my patient a while. Had a nasty fall from the Rosewater Post's second-floor window. Never a dull moment around here.
Pretty common-looking leather pouch. The stuff inside isn't of much use to me. Hey, can you hear me?
Oh, I wouldn't try talking to him just now, Miss Leger. I gave him a mild narcotic to numb the pain. He'll be out of sorts for a while.
Hey, Doc.
Miss Leger.
So, how's the medicine business?
What a question. I'm a physician, Miss Leger, not some two-bit snake oil salesman.
Didn't mean to imply you were.
I'm sure. At any rate, I've not had many patients of late. This poor soul is the only one this week. But that is the physician's dilemma, is it not? We are taught that idleness is a sin. But better that I am idle and the townsfolk healthy than my surgery be full of the ill and infirm.
Got any knowledge to impart about Rosewater?
Oh, well, it's a fine town.
You don't sound too enthused.
I'm sure you'll find plenty to see and do here.
Give it to me straight, Doc. I want to know your thoughts on this place, warts and all.
Were Rosewater one of my patients, I would say the prognosis is not good. Not since all the Aurum claims dried up and the airship routes opened, leapfrogging over our rail line. The hangers-on keep this place gasping for breath, but I fear they only prolong the inevitable. I hope I haven't discouraged you, but you did ask my opinion.
If things are so bad, why not pick up and move elsewhere?
I swore an oath to do no harm, Miss Leger. As the town's only physician, leaving would mean abandoning my patients. There may not be many left to call on my services, but when they do, I am the only barrier standing between them and the grave.
Isn't that a bit dramatic, Doc?
Say what you will. I know where I stand on the matter.
Why not train somebody to take over for you?
I did have an apprentice not long ago, my ward, Nadine.
What happened to her?
Oh, this is no kind of life for a restless young person. I encouraged her to put her talents to use elsewhere. She's ministering to the local native tribe now.
Who is this tribe?
I'm afraid I don't know much about them, just that they have a small village somewhere in the valley. I believe they call themselves the Audam? Autumn? I'm not certain of the pronunciation. At any rate, they don't come to the town, and I imagine the townsfolk mostly let them be as well.
I'll see you later, Doc.
Do take care of yourself.
Howdy, stranger. Fresh off the train?
Yes, sir.
Come on in then. Let's have a chat. I'm Sheriff Gamble.
Harley Leger.
Pleasure. Just passing through, or?
I'm here about a job.
Well now, that's refreshing. Few come to Rosewater these days with the intent of staying long. How are you finding our town?
Oh, it's great. Real pretty.
Glad you think so. Most folks take one look around and get right on the next train back. But I can see you have some real grit. I doubt the dust and the flies will put you off. Anyhow, welcome to Rosewater. You run into any trouble, you come and see me. I see you got one of those leather pouches, too. Great, aren't they?
This fellow still at large?
Yep, but I reckon he's left the province.
Fancy yourself a lepidopterist?
Ha, hardly. Picked that display up from a passing rag and bone man. But I like when the sun shines on their wings just so. Real thing of beauty.
Hey, Sheriff?
Ma'am?
Why have you got a horseshoe hanging above the door?
Glad you asked. My grandpappy told me a story about a blacksmith who was visited by the devil. The devil asked the smith to make him a horseshoe for his own hoofed feet, you see. So, the blacksmith took a red-hot horseshoe and nailed it straight onto one of his hooves. The devil howled out in pain. He begged the blacksmith to take it off again. The smith agreed, but on one condition. The devil must always respect the horseshoe, and never enter any place where one is hung above the door. Hell of a story, wouldn't you say?
Hey, Sheriff,
Yes, ma'am?
what's the story with these guns?
Now these are standard issue repeaters, pretty powerful rifles. Thankfully, I've yet to use one in the line of duty. Wouldn't want to be on the receiving end of one of these.
Reminder, confiscated items to be placed in the box below. What's in the bag?
Oh, that's a set of lockpicks I confiscated from a would-be burglar.
Hey, Sheriff,
Yes, ma'am?
what's this photo of?
That's a view of Colchester, where I grew up. Sometimes I find myself wondering what life would be like if I'd stayed.
He'll notice they're missing.
The winters were so cold, people's sentences would hang in the air for days. It ain't exactly a metropolis, but it's got character.
He'll notice... I can't swap the bags. Hey, Sheriff,
Yes, ma'am?
what was it you said about this photo?
That's a view of Colchester, where I grew up. My folks still have a ranch there. Been meaning to pay 'em a visit.
Got him. I can pick this type of lock in my sleep. This should be easy to pick. Just have to remember that rhyme I taught Bill. Good thing I wrote it down in my journal. I should have this open in no time. It's just like the rhyme. Learned it by heart as a tyke and scribbled it down for posterity. A hook pick, good for locks with smaller pins. A diamond pick, this one's good for simple door locks. The tension key, don't pick locks without it. Fantastic! Guess the devil won't be coming in here. Emptier than that fool Jem's head. Absolutely nothing. No watch, just old Ash. Nothing here. Just worthless trinkets. Well now, what have we here? Got what I came for. Best not to stick around. Here's your watch back.
No fooling. You actually got it?
They didn't used to call me Housebreaker Harley for nothing.
Hey, I'm impressed.
Anyways, that's my part of the bargain held up. You gonna let me in now?
Sure, go on. Oh, and thanks. I know we've had our tiffs, but I really do appreciate you getting this for me. My dear departed pa can rest easy again knowing his watch is back where it belongs.
That's not your watch at all, is it?
Well, it is now.
Kid, if I were you, I'd make myself scarce. Otherwise, the only way you'll be able to tell the time on that thing is by squatting over a mirror. You get me?
Yes, ma'am.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of all ages, are you ready for some thrills? Are you ready for some excitement? Are you ready for some fun? Then without further ado, may I present the star of our show, the last man standing at the Bleachbone Gulch Showdown, the only man to defeat bastard Billy Boakes in a duel, the man who discovered a gentleman, then gifted it to an orphanage, Gentleman Jake-Ackerman!
Thank you, Charlie, for that wonderful introduction. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Gentleman Jake's Wild West. We got a heck of a performance for you today, but first, allow me to introduce my brave and loyal assistant, Danny Luo. Now let's get this show on the road. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is how you rope a steer. Keep it going, Danny. Maybe you'll lasso yourself one someday.
You couldn't rope a steer if it invited itself in for dinner.
The sun beat down upon them as the duelists stood and stared. But Billy Boakes had never fought somebody so prepared. Jake drew his gun, and bang! The bastard crashed down with a thud. The legendary foe lay dead, defeated, in the mud.
And now for a most challenging proposition, perhaps the greatest feat of marksmanship to which a man can set his sights. You see those 5 juggling balls that Charlie keeps whirling aloft in such a dizzying display? Ladies and gentlemen, fix your eyes on that green ball in particular, and do not dare blink. For with but a single bullet, I will pluck it from the very air. that, ladies and gentlemen, is our show. Thank you all so much. You've been a truly magnanimous, magnificent, and majestic audience.
And you can take home a piece of the legend. Come on down to the Jack of Diamonds to get an autograph or a souvenir ferrotype. We'll be there until last call. Stop by and shake hands with Gentleman Jake.
Ladies and gentlemen, good night.
I'm telling you, Jake, I need that money tonight.
You knew the deal going in, Charlie. There's nothing I can do about it.
We'll see about that.
Hope I'm not interrupting, gentlemen.
My friend here was just saying his farewells. Weren't you, Charlie? Please do pardon that unpleasant display. What can I do for you, my dear?
Name's Harley Leger. I'd like to interview you for the Rosewater Post.
Well, shucks, it would be my pleasure, Miss Leger. Shall we go upstairs to my room? Beats standing out here in the dust.
Lead on.
Miss Leger, permit me to introduce my associate, Danny Luo.
We've met, actually. Not formally, I suppose. Nice to properly make your acquaintance, Miss Leger.
Likewise, Mr. Luo.
Please, you can call me Danny. Everybody does.
So what did you think of the show? Pretty spectacular, huh?
Yes, that's definitely the word for it.
I'm glad you think so. Shall we proceed with the interview?
Right. You're clearly a man of great deeds. Which would you say has been your greatest?
I value all my accomplishments equally, Miss Leger. To single any one out would diminish the others. I couldn't bring myself to do that.
What a noble sentiment.
I like to think so.
What's something nobody knows about you? Give me something juicy.
I'm something of an open book, Miss Leger. Keeping secrets ain't really my modus operandi.
Come on, everyone's got secrets.
Oh, I think you'll find I'm not like most folk.
Is there anything that frightens the mighty Gentleman Jake?
You know, somebody once told me, fear is only as deep as the mind allows. When you deal with the type of folks out on the frontier that I do, marauders, bandits, desperados, your fears have got to be shallow. Otherwise, you won't last 2 seconds.
So what do you do when you're not gunslinging or adventuring?
Well, you were at the show. You saw it firsthand.
Right, but what about hobbies? Pastimes?
Well, I ain't the type to sit around reading novels, if that's what you're getting at. I'm a man of action.
Hey, Jake, don't you have an appointment with Miss Sally this evening?
Damn, you're right. Sorry to cut things short, Miss Leger. I've got another engagement I need to prepare for.
I should have plenty for my article. I appreciate your time.
Well, I look forward to reading your story in the next edition. Danny, see the lady out, would you?
Good meeting you, Danny. Guess I'll see you around. Not to worry, gents. Jake's all yours. Hey, you were in the show. Nice juggling.
Thank you, ma'am. Jake, get your ass out here right now, you four-flusher.
Now, what's all the ruckus?
Don't play the fool with me, Ackerman. You know damn well why I'm here. You might think you can give me the runaround, but I wonder if my friends here won't convince you to pay up.
Charlie. Didn't anybody ever tell you only cowards get others to solve their problems for them?
You slum-guzzling bastard. I'm gonna fix that wobbling jaw of yours.
Come on up here, then.
You sure you won't reconsider, Charlie?
Shut the hell up and get out of my way. McGuire, take care of the kid. Let's dance, cowboy. I suggest you clear out while you can, little lady. This could get ugly.
Where I'm standing, it's pretty damn ugly already. Hey!
So that's how you want it, huh? Fine. I'll let the boss deal with you when he's done. Come on, McGuire!
You're in my way.
And that's where... Hey! Don't start any trouble, lady. Hey! Hey! Don't start any trouble, lady.
Whoopsie daisy.
Hey, nice one.
Not the most honorable way of winning a fight, but these boys were hardly playing fair.
Hey, Charlie. Looks like your guys weren't as tough as you hoped.
Whoo-wee! That got the old blood pumping.
You've got some interesting associates, Mr. Ackerman. If you'll excuse me, I have an article to write.
Hang on just a minute. I'd be a fool to just let you walk away after that performance. Come on back up here. I've got a business proposition that may interest you.
What about Miss Sally?
Oh, she can wait. All right, Miss Leger, I won't beat around the bush. Danny and I are looking to get some folks together for a job, and I think you'd make a damn fine addition to the team.
What sort of job?
Ever hear of Dr. Bennett Clark?
No, I don't think I have.
He was the lead scientist researching that ethericity stuff. Before the ban, that is. Dr. Clark moved out here not long after the big disaster back in Lamplight City. You know, the one where all those folks got disintegrated? He kept up his research, even did some demonstrations at the Opera House. Till one day, he just up and vanished. Nobody's seen hide nor hair of him in nearly a year.
So is he dead or what?
That's the thing. Nobody knows. But the real question is what he left behind. We're going in search of Dr. Clark's fortune.
Come again?
The feller was loaded. Somehow he managed to talk a bunch of big money investors from back east into financing his research. All those gizmos and doodads don't come cheap, you know? We find his stash, we'll all be rolling in it for years to come.
Stash? What stash? Surely it's all just numbers on a ledger somewhere.
Nope, I'm telling you, he kept his assets in cold, hard cash.
So you're looking to rob a man blind just because nobody knows where he is?
Now, nothing so uncouth as that. Picture this, a swashbuckling pirate captain, his vessel freighted with treasure. The vast fleets of law and order circling him, closing in. He digs a hole in the sands of some sun-kissed tropical beach to conceal his ill-gotten loot and makes himself scarce. Circumstance conspires to deprive him of the opportunity to return. Now, he's the brave treasure hunter who seeks and unearths the bounty guilty of robbery? Or is he just returning to the world what would otherwise lie forgotten and worthless? See, we're not after Clark's personal wealth. The money in question was meant to bankroll his etheric research. Since that's been outlawed, he can't touch it. And it's a drop in the ocean for the investors. They'll never miss it.
How many folks are you planning on bringing into this?
That depends on what we find. But I promise you, we'll all get a fair split, enough to make it all worthwhile.
What's your plan?
Clark had a lab nearby, a couple miles outside of town. Last place anybody saw him. We poke around there, retrace his steps, and it should lead us straight to the loot.
Uh-huh.
Now, call me crazy, but I get the impression you're not entirely convinced.
Truth be told, I'm not. How can you be sure Clark isn't just holed up in some cave with his cash? Or that someone didn't off him so they could claim it for themselves? We follow Clark, and whatever vanished him could end up vanishing us, too.
I admit we're asking you to put a lot of faith in us. Hell, I'd probably be just as incredulous were I in your position.
Mr.Ackerman's a good man, Miss Leger. He's never led me astray in all the time I've known him.
I appreciate it, Danny, but I think Miss Leger's gonna need a little more than just your word. Look, I've known quite a few moneyed folk in my time. They all got one thing in common. You know what that is?
They couldn't give a rat's ass about folks like you and me.
I admit I cannot emphatically contradict you there, but not what I meant.
So what do they have in common?
They're good at keeping their money safe. Clark's cash is out there, I just know it. As far as your safety, you just took out a couple of brutes twice our size. It's plain to see you can take care of yourself.
I'm pretty good with my pistols, and Mr. Ackerman can talk his way out of anything, but we could use somebody who's good in the fights.
Besides, stick around old Jake long enough and you'll have enough material to write a whole book. Forget a measly little write-up in the local rag. I'm offering you a front row seat to a much better show. So, what do you say?
All right, Mr. Ackerman. I'm in. At the very least, this venture should make for an interesting tale.
I'm pleased to hear you say that.
You won't regret this, Miss Leger.
We'll set out for the lab at daybreak. And please, call me Jake.